Good evening, Professor. This is Laura DiPentima, and this is my assignment for Beyond the Classroom, Chapter 2 in Excel. So this week, a majority of the focus was learning the functions and kind of getting in depth with the formulas and functions in Excel. We were asked to kind of make improvements and make a more detailed spreadsheet on this, mock car loan. So we're given, a budget that we have to work with and a cost of car and a 5% down payment, and we're supposed to kind of come up with the figures to see if, the cost of the car is affordable with the associated down payment. So obviously I used formulas to factor the down payment, the cost of the car times the 5%. And then for the monthly payment, I actually created here a amount financed column because I noticed in the hand-on exercises and in a lot of the textbook references, the current value in the PMP function, it wanted the present value. And I figured in this situation, I kind of went out on a limb and realized that in this situation, you don't want the cost of the car as the present value and you don't want the down payment. You really want the amount financed, which is, the amount borrowed, which would be the difference between the cost and the down payment. So I created an amount finance column and used that as my present value as, the PV with a negative, to make it negative, so that way it would create a positive number. So I did create that. I just think that it makes the PMP function easier to use and just a little cleaner in the spreadsheet. So I hope that's acceptable. And I also used the if function in the logic to be able to use to basically kind of recognize if this number essentially does not if this does not meet the standards, if it's over $500, then we would get an NA, and the mock person in this scenario would not be able to test drive the car or afford the car. So using the if and the logic functions here was great because I was not familiar with that. So I would have to say the purpose of this assignment was to just become better acclimated with the formula functions, which I have to say I wasn't overly familiar with at all. I know a lot of the basic formulas, the very minimal, this cell plus this cell equals this, but using these formulas like the PMP and the logic I hadn't used before this chapter. And essentially, as you asked, pretty much everything I learned this week was not something I knew before, I knew how to use before. And I look forward to, incorporating that in my future Excel spreadsheets. Like I said, I work with Excel at work, so everything I kind of learn in these chapters is something I can take away with me. So thank you so much.